Right, so we're talking to Ross Appleby, skipper of Scarlet Oyster. Ross, just run us through the course as far as you're concerned on the good Oyster 48. What's going to go on?
Right, well, the way we're starting, obviously upwind, just off English Harbour. We've got to find our way sort of probably an hour and a half beat up towards Green Island, and we should be able to free sheets and maybe put a jib top up, depending on the conditions, up to a buoy just off Barbuda. With the forecast we have, it looks like it'll be a fairly deepish run down towards Nevis, which should be quite good for us because we're not going to go scooting off at a million knots on a sort of a broad reach, so a running leg isn't bad news for us. Then we're going to be coming around, we've got to get through the lee of Nevis, which hopefully won't be too tricky. Then we're going to be more or less a beam reach, perhaps slightly free in that, up to Sabre again, probably jib top, followed by a nice, for us hopefully, beat up to St Bart's. The breeze we're looking at the moment, we think it's going to be 15ish knots for quite a lot of the course, but it'll be beginning to build the second half of the race for us. We've then got another sort of broad reach slash beam reach down around St Martin, and then a beat up through the gap before we turn on the longest leg of the course, which is it's about 160 miles I guess down. We'll have to negotiate monster out one way or the other, and that'll depend on where we want to end up on Guadeloupe. Leaving Guadeloupe to port, the Saints to port, and then we're coming upwind through the gap between Marigalante, round Le Désirade for another. Again, by now we should be seeing 20 knots plus, so it should be pretty bit wet. Again, it should be a long beamish reach. The wind looks like it might go a bit more easterly by now, so that could give us a freer angle, but with the wind speed we're seeing, I can't see this being a spinnaker leg. It's going to be more like a jib top again. Get up to the buoy by Barbuda, followed by probably a ASAR reach down to Redonda, followed by a beat up to the finish. And with a bit of luck, that should be 3 days thereabouts. With, everything going smoothly.
And you know Antigua well. You just tell us a bit about what the atmosphere's like here. Yeah,
it's been very good. Most of the crews have arrived now. Our guys all sort of came into town yesterday, so everyone's sort of catching up over a few beers. Antigua's very busy right now. There's quite a few of the big super yachts in as well, so it's quite a lively place. So it's a lot going on.
Yeah. And that heavenly conditions, but this is no picnic, is it?
No, I mean there's lots of corners, and it's pretty boisterous sailing. I mean the waves out here are not small. They've had to fetch the whole Atlantic to come across. But obviously the water's a lot warmer than we used to back in Europe, but it should be fairly boisterous hopefully. Typical trade wind conditions, you expect 20 knots a great deal of the time. Looks like we might have slightly lighter conditions at the beginning of the race, but no, it should be...
Might come good for Scarlet Oyster.
Never know, you never know.